Look at this. We got what, like 3 or 4 days in a row now with actual Major League Baseball offseason news to talk about. We didn't see this last year. We didn't see it the year before, but the 2019/2020 offseason is on fire. The hot stove is cooking. We got the San Diego Padres and the Rays making a trade late last night. Tommy Pham and a prospect going over to the Padres in exchange for Hunter Renfroe and a top prospect to the Rays. We got Brach signing with the New York Mets. The Yankees might be the front runner to get Gerrit Cole now. Like, oh no. Michael Pineda re-signed with the Minnesota Twins. Alex Avila with the Twins. Howie Kendrick back to the Nationals. We got so much to talk about in today's video, so let's get going right into it. As always, remember, leave a like on the video if you did enjoy it. That's the best way to show your support. Subscribe if you're new and you enjoy the content. If you love baseball, click that sub button, join the team. Make sure to get in the comments down below. I love to know what you guys think about all these moves. I'd love to hear your opinions down in the comment section. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at GiraffeNeckMarc. Links in the description. I'm always talking baseball over there. So let's get it started off with the biggest move, the title of today's video. We've got the Tommy Pham to the San Diego Padres trade. So I briefly gave you the details, but let me give you the exact names and what's happening with this trade. So the Padres are getting Tommy Pham and a prospect, or at least a minor leaguer by the name of Cronenworth, and the Rays are getting Hunter Renfroe and number 5 prospect in the Padres organization, Xavier. Let's start it off by talking about what the Tampa Bay Rays are getting. Now, if you're Blake Snell, you weren't a big fan of the trade. Did you guys see this clip?
We giving Pham up for Renfroe and a damn slapdick prospect.
But it's actually a really good trade for the Tampa Bay Rays. This trade works out really well for both teams. Like, I like what the Rays did, and I also like what the Padres did. When I originally saw it, I was like, the Rays are trading Tommy Pham for Hunter Renfroe, but they also got Xavier, who looks like he's going to be a really nice player, and we'll go into more details about him. But both teams won on this trade. Let me just put that out there first. Now, yes, the Rays are losing Tommy Pham, who's an on-base machine. He's a pretty serviceable outfielder as well defensively. In years past, he's been very good. Last year, he was a bit all over the place, a little inconsistent, but overall, Tommy Pham is a very good player. He can play at an all-star caliber. He's a top 50 player in the league. They got Hunter Renfroe, who's definitely not a top 50 player in the league, but there is stuff that shows that Hunter Renfroe can be a really, really good player for the Rays down the line. Not to mention that they have more years of control over him. I think they have 4 more years of control as opposed to the 2 for Tommy Pham. And Hunter Renfroe is going to cost them less in the long run than it would to keep Tommy Pham. Plus, they add the prospect Xavier, who we'll talk about. So with Hunter Renfroe, he's kind of been a one-dimensional hitter right now. He's pretty much hit a home run, strikeout, low average, high slugging. So he kind of fits the modern baseball the way it's being played right now. Had a crazy good start to the season in 2019. He went off, I think he hit like 27 homers in the first half, but then injuries, little minor things here and there in the second half gave him a awful second half of the season. For the full year of 2019, Hunter Renfroe had 33 homers, 19 doubles, and 64 RBIs, hit .216 with a .289 on base, .489 slugging, and a .778 OPS. But like I said, 27 of those homers came in the first half where he finished with a .921 OPS, and then the second half he had 6 homers, 6 doubles, 161 average, .263 on base, .299 slugging, and a .562 OPS. He was horrible in the second half, but with Hunter Renfroe, you're actually getting a pretty good fielder as well. I've seen a lot of people talking about how he's going to be the DH for the Rays. Austin Meadows is your DH. Hunter Renfroe is a significantly better defensive outfielder than Austin Meadows. You're going to stick him out there in the field before you do it with Austin. So do I think Hunter Renfroe is an improvement on Tommy Pham? No, by no means do I think Hunter Renfroe is going to be a better player than Tommy Pham would be in these next 2 seasons, but that doesn't mean that there's not a lot of upside with Hunter Renfroe. The guy has crazy amount of pop, and he wasn't healthy the second half of the season, so we could have seen him absolutely go off. The injuries just might have derailed it, and he plays good defense. I'm not a huge Hunter Renfroe fan. I don't think he's going to be one of the best players in baseball anytime soon, but it makes sense to grab him. Now, Xavier, he's kind of the real prize of this trade for the Tampa Bay Rays. He's the number 5 prospect in that loaded San Diego Padres organization and the number 72 overall prospect in Major League Baseball. This guy is the definition of a legit prospect. Top 100, that's pretty good. Number 4 second baseman. He was drafted in 2018 in the first round with the 38th pick. He was playing in A-ball last year. He's done really well so far in the minors throughout his career. A former teammate of Xavier by the name of Justin Paulson is actually a follower of mine on Twitter, and as soon as the trade came through, he gave me his thoughts and opinions, and he had really high stuff to say. So here's what Justin had to say about Xavier. I'm telling you, Edwards is going to be a star. I played with him, and he is one of the best players I've ever seen, and he was 18. So that was originally when he was drafted by the Padres. And then I asked him to give me one word to describe Xavier as a baseball player, and he said electric. So yes, obviously, these are just words. You need to see actual results. You need to see swings. You need to see fundamentals. You need to see his mechanics. But he's a highly hyped up prospect. I have word from a former teammate of his that the kid is an absolute star. The Tampa Bay Rays already have a loaded farm system. You can add Xavier to it, who is a pretty decent hitter. He's hit like 300 in the minors. He's flies on the base path. I think he stole 50 plus bases in about 160 games in the minors this far in his career. And he's also got a plus glove at second base. So for the Tampa Bay Rays, you might not necessarily use this guy because their farm system's loaded with middle infield talent, but you can now use this guy or another player to go get another guy in a trade. Use them as part of the package. I really like what the Rays did here, getting rid of Tommy Pham pretty much at probably what's going to be close to his highest value. And they got Tommy Pham for basically nothing from the Cardinals, so great flip by the Rays. For the Padres, I also love the trade. Now, giving up Xavier Edwards might be a little bit of a problem here. He was a highly touted prospect, and you really only got Tommy Pham back, but as you guys know, I stick to my guns. I'm okay with trading a prospect to get a player who is really good, a bona fide star. Now, Tommy Pham, not a bona fide star, but he can play at a very high level. Like I said, in my opinion, he's a top 50 player in the game. He can play at an all-star level. For the Padres, who I still think are a little far away from being a real competitor, this is going to automatically improve their team. They had one of the lowest on-base percentages in baseball last year. Tommy Pham gets on base like crazy. He has pop in his bat. He can play all the outfield positions pretty well. I really like Tommy Pham. Does he have a little bit of a chip on his shoulder? Yes, without a doubt. But the dude is a very good baseball player, and for the San Diego Padres, who kind of are a little bit lost in that outfield, you get a guy who's going to be there for the next couple seasons who's going to produce. Now, honestly, the most interesting part about this trade is the guy by the name of Jake Cronenworth, because this dude is super interesting to talk about. Cronenworth is actually a two-way player, and last year with the Rays in AAA, he did both, and he did it pretty well. Hitting-wise, last year, he had 10 homers, 27 doubles, 329 average with a 422 on base, 511 slugging, and 934 OPS on the offensive side playing in AAA. And then he was also used as an opener in their minor leagues, pitched in 7 games, 6 starts, 7 1/3 innings. He definitely has a walk issue. He walked 8 batters in those innings, so his walks are crazy high. His strikeouts are pretty high as well. That's a really interesting player for the Padres to grab, especially with this 26-man roster. He can now be a guy who can be a middle infielder for you, because that's what position he plays, but he can also be a guy that the Padres throw in for an inning, who can pitch for them, open a game. He expands their roster, gives them a lot of flexibility. I like the trades from both sides. If I had to pick a winner, the immediate future, I think the winner is the Padres, but in the long term, I think the Rays are probably going to win this trade. So in my opinion, both winners. I like this trade a lot. Some minor Mets news, although everyone's telling me I'm only a Mets channel now, so maybe I shouldn't talk about it, but I'm going to, because I like the Mets, and I got a lot of people who like the Mets that watch me. But Brach signed a 1-year deal with an option with the New York Mets, getting paid just under $1 million this year for a player option for 1.25 in 2021. He was terrible with the Cubs last year, but it's because he wasn't throwing his cutter. They were making him throw pitches that he wasn't necessarily good at. Came to the Mets, threw his cutter a lot. He was a great reliever for them. Had an ERA in the 3s. He's a good 6th, 7th inning guy for the Mets, especially because they just don't have a lot of bullpen depth. I love that they brought Brach back. That's another one of my predictions that I got right. I think I got him and Jake Diekman so far. He may not be a sexy move. He may not be the coolest move, but for the Mets who need those kind of just middle reliever guys, Brach was a really good guy to bring back, so I'm glad that they got him. Howie Kendrick returns to the Nationals on a 1-year, $6.25 million deal. You guys know I've talked about Howie Kendrick a lot on this channel. Had a fantastic season last year. He was huge in that World Series push for them. He was so clutch in the playoffs, played great. He hasn't showed any signs of slowing down, so at 1 year, $6.25 million to play second base, to play first base, third base, wherever you want this guy to play, he can do it. I think it's a great addition. He's not going to hurt you at that price. If anything, he's only going to be worth more than what you're paying for him, especially if he plays like he did in 2019, where he had an OPS above 900. Really like the Howie Kendrick signing. That's a great job by the Nationals, especially if they're going to lose Rendon possibly. Gotta love Howie Kendrick. He's really good. Michael Pineda re-signed with the Minnesota Twins, 2 years, $20 million. Michael Pineda is a guy that's always been very disappointing to me. When he was out in Seattle, he had some really good spurts where you're like, this guy has something to be special, but then he went to the Yankees, never really turned into the pitcher that they hoped. He then went to the Twins, same thing, just like never really hit that top line starter that we thought we once saw in Seattle. I think for the Twins at 2 years, $20 million, again, who really cares? That's not a whole lot of money to give him. They just lost Kyle Gibson, so they definitely need to get some more starting pitching depth. I think Michael Pineda will end up being a perfectly good signing for them. And what if he does hit that upside, right? I mean, we saw what he did in Seattle that 1 year and everyone was high on him. What if he can pitch like that again? And then the final signing to go over is another extremely minor one, and it's Alex Avila signing with the Minnesota Twins as well. 1 year, $4.25 million. He's going to be a backup catcher. It's interesting what this does. If they bring back Jason Castro now, are they going to carry 3 catchers with Mitch Garver, Alex Avila, and Jason Castro? To me, it seems like Castro's going to be on his way out. If that's the case, I'm sure Jason Castro will get signed by another team. He's a very nice defensive catcher who does have a tiny little bit of pop in his bat. He'll find a job somewhere else. But Alex Avila, same thing. You're just getting like a veteran presence back there, knows how to handle a pitching staff. And then as for the rumors, we've got the Texas Rangers. They met with Anthony Rendon. I think I said in yesterday's video as well, so maybe I'm repeating myself, but I think that's where he ends up going. But we also got word that the Phillies are going hard all in on Anthony Rendon, which scares the living crap out of me. I do not want Anthony Rendon in Philadelphia. You add him to that team, they get infinitely scarier. And then, as I said yesterday, the Yankees all in on Garrett Cole. They're going to make him the richest pitcher in baseball history. I've pretty much accepted the fact that he's going to sign with the Yankees now. Boy, do I hope I am wrong. I'd love to see him go to the Los Angeles Angels. But the Yankees, they tend to get what they want, and if they want Garrett Cole, they'll put the money up, they'll shut up, and they'll sign him, and they're gonna end up winning World Series with him, which is just absolutely devastating to me as a Mets fan. But that's just how it goes. The Yankees got money. Why not use it, right? So that's my opinion on all the news, all the moves that have been happening in baseball the last 24 hours. I would love to know what you guys think about all the moves down in the comment section below. Do you like the Pham trade? Who do you think won it? Remember to leave a like on the video if you did enjoy it. That's the best way to support the channel, as well as clicking that sub button if you are not yet subscribed to the channel. That really does help me out. Remember to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at GiraffeNeckMarc. Links in the description. And that's going to wrap it up for today. We've had hot stove news for a few days in a row now. I'm guessing this weekend's going to cool off a little bit with the winter meeting starting on Monday, but I am excited for the offseason. We got so much left, and then it's almost baseball season in like 4 months. I'm gonna wrap up the video there, guys. Thank you so much for watching. You know the drill. YouTube recommends you watch this video right here, as well as this is my most recent upload, so click through those if you have not yet seen them. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I'll see you all next time for another one.